The Lone Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know. On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange, well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange, well, I know. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, you say. On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange, well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange, well, I know. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, you say. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, sure as the hour. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, you say.
ain't meant to make it. Every day's a brand new episode on the Glover Show.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Twitch? What up, Cosmic? What up, Matt? What up, Square? What up, bots? What up, Stampy? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy. It's snack time. The Snackosaurus Rex is in the building. The Snackopotamus. Are you happy now? You got lem-lems? You got lem-lems? Stampy. And he's gone. And he's gone. All right. So, St. George. Does this mean we're going to fight the French? Oh, that's St. Crispin's Day. It's for St. George. All right. So, news one, as of today, or as of yesterday, technically, but as of today, we have a sponsorship. Legend of Mushroom. If you can download the game, it's greatly appreciated. If you can play the game, it's greatly appreciated. It's a mobile game. I don't know if it works with emulators. I didn't see anything that indicated that either way. Tuesday evening, we're going to do the required 2 hours of stream for the game, for the sponsorship. And like that. Looks like a fun little game. All you have to do is install the game. Level 20, level 40, level 50, level 70, level 95, level 105. There's some additionals if you purchase one of the packs, but I would be super happy if people just played the game, achieved some levels, etc., etc. So yeah. Okay, so that's news number one. News number two is that my son is starting his internship, and that may mess with the morning stream. It will not mess with the evening stream. It may mess with the morning stream. It may affect the start time. It may affect whether or not I can stream it all on any particular day, depending on how long the internship goes on that day. At the very least, the disruption will only last for about a month, right, to the end of May. So starting on Monday, go to the end of May, there may be disruptions to the morning stream. I'm telling you now so that you know. And then there might not be any disruptions at all. As I always tell you, be flexible. Flexibility is key. Do your yoga. Finally, again, I'm not naming names. I'm not calling anyone in particular out. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, now you know. I was watching a streamer last night, AI bad in their title, and they had two examples of how AI it was bad. One an article and one a study. The article being about people applying to college, a college of some nature. They applied to a college, but they were bots to get that, the school funding, right? Like to get the. And of course, that's AI's fault because apparently they may have used generative AI. So, with a complete lack of evidence, that streamer held AI responsible. And then even more wonderful was how they had this study where Bitcoin mining led to increased electricity use, which meant that fossil fuel plants may be, or were, the fossil fuel plants were using like coal dust and, coal, right, which produces coal ash and coal dust, and that it was increasing people's illness, which we understand, right? Like that's absolutely true, which is why we want to get off the fossil fuels, among all the other reasons to get off the fossil fuel. And that the Bitcoin mining that was being done that caused the increased use of electricity could be happening some distance away. What up, Ben? You live in a place near a electricity production plant, and that electricity could be going hundreds of miles to a Bitcoin mining facility. Somehow, this also indicates that AI bad. Good job, buddy. Absolutely top tier. Good job. Way to drive that home. It's not even a data center issue, though it is, data centers do cause increased consumption. It's an issue of fossil fuels, right? So we should be advocating for more renewables and nuclear and geothermal and whatnot. And instead, um, we're blaming the AI for what the Bitcoiners do. Oh, I'm sure, Ben. Like that's absolutely, if the question is if it wasn't a data center, if it was increased consumption by, um, excuse me, more housing, then we're just good with that. maybe a new Fortnite data center got set up. It's just exhausting. It's just exhausting. We need to find renewable on-demand energy or plan consumption around increased supply. Yes. And what we need to be doing is, you know, what I would like to be seeing is not only expanding our grids to be universal, like fuck what Texas is doing, and turn it into a national grid, but shit, it should be an international grid, right? That would allow increased access to electricity for people who need electricity and aren't receiving it right now, and also allow the us to stagger our production better, because you can move it around the world, right? And it's not like you're not going to run electricity from the United States to like China, right? But it's a cascade effect. You can have production here, which helps those people, and then those people, their production helps the next people, so on and so forth, right? What we need is a worldwide grid. What we have is shenanigans. No, it's all about figuring out. It's about balancing consumption and production, Matt. 100%. I completely agree with you. I put increase in Bitcoin mining down to a tangerine president. Oh no. This is not their responsibility. As such, Cosmic. This is this has to do with Bitcoin mining or any sort of cryptocurrency mining has to do with long established, precedents that people pay money to get land, and depending on the municipality can put up whatever they want, right? So when you have a business friendly state or county, it creates an increase in the possibility of putting a Bitcoin mining facility or cryptocurrency facility in that space, as opposed to somewhere else, right? Or as opposed to not allowing that shit at all. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Absolutely. What you call it? A distributed network, right? Community solar, community geothermal, community even nuclear, right? Like again, I believe I will take nuclear over fossil fuels, and we need proven technology to increase the rate of phase out of fossil fuels, and we need it today. Big component needs to be better battery tech. Yes, I would like to see better battery tech, and it's improving over time, right? And upgrading the national infrastructure for electricity. Electricity companies don't want to invest in this, and we don't have the government spending to do it. 100%. 100%. That's all correct. Bitcoin to me doesn't make much sense. I don't know why we need perpetual carbon footprint on currency and transactions. It had to do. It's a at its heart, what it is an attempt to remove a tool of the government from the government, right? Bitcoin exists in cryptocurrency exists in opposition to state-backed fiat currencies, right? That's all. They just want to get their own thing that isn't backed by the government, and it's libertarianism at its finest. It's running your government as a business. It's all that kind of crap. see few negatives to tiny windmills for individual homes. Um, it has to do with the windmills themselves, right? Because windmills, depending on their size, can generate vibrations, etc., etc. But generally speaking, like if you could put in a windmill and cool, right? I saw a news art, and there's some really interesting designs that you can't do on a massive scale, right? The big ones tend to have the large blade rotors on them, as opposed to I've seen some really interesting like curved screw shaped designs and some tall spinner designs and stuff like that. So like there are more options at the personal level than exist at the national level, or at the national level. I saw a news article a couple of days ago about a new way of generating electricity using supercritical CO2, which reduces the size of the turbines by about 100, or so those plants can produce 100 times more electricity in the same space. The heat source can be anything just the same. Sure. If I'm understanding what you're saying, I believe no, that sounds great. Like again, like solar and wind aren't the only sustainable energy sources. No, I'm always careful to mention geothermal as an example because that's Cosmic's favorite, and it's accurate. My only thing with geothermal is has to do with efficiency, right? And I am concerned about fracking tech used in relation to geothermal. But like using it in places where heat wells are very near the surface, great idea, right? Like Iceland, some of the other Scandinavian countries, they have, that kind of stuff right near the surface. Absolutely. Um, if you already have done fracking and there is access to using those fracking wells for geothermal power and it would be efficient, then do that as well, right? Let's not have this fracking leftover garbage. I just don't want to see more fracking, right? The last thing I want to see is somebody who's doing fracking to extract the natural gas with the intent of then converting it into a geothermal well, right? Like I don't want to give an excuse to have more fracking, if that makes sense. Your concerns with fracking on geothermal energy is a little unfounded because the wells are so deep down there to get the necessary temperature. The fracking will have no effect anywhere near the surface. I challenge that assumption. The act of fracking, when you're breaking apart the the stone substructure, then that can, and I believe has been proven to. I'm not even worried about groundwater, baby. I'm worried about the increase in earthquakes from destabilizing um, the solid stone structure underneath, which increases the amount of earthquakes. Like we're talking about Oklahoma specifically. Now, I am not an expert on geothermal. I am not an expert on fracking. I am not an expert on any of these things. It is possible that that my concerns are, in fact, unfounded. But given what I have read and given what I have seen, I just need something. I need to be able to look at something that proves that they're unfounded. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like the solar in space sounds interesting and it sounds neat. I just don't know how actually viable it is, right? But allegedly the Chinese are working on it, and the Japanese did a test, right? So have you seen the horizontal drilling techniques that use these days that do not need fracking to produce a circuit? of fluid which gets superheated. I have, right? And again, that's why I very clearly, I'm not against drilling necessarily. What I am against is fracking because of how fracking works, right? Like that is my concern. Is the fracking in and of itself, you know what I mean? And Matt isn't wrong also about the drinking water, right? Like, what fluid are you pumping through there, and does it affect the drinking water, etc., etc.? Because water is important, in case you hadn't noticed. What up, Minute? Space mirrors? They're like microwave beam. They put a solar panel kind of thing in space with a microwave beam, and it fires it at like base stations. And like the Japanese test run of the technology was like 1% efficiency, but that might not matter, right? Because it's all free, you know what I mean? Once you get it up and running, then if you're getting 1% of energy that you don't really have to put any further inputs into, then that could work itself out. But again, it sounds a little space elevator to me, right? Like where um it's a thing that could be a thing, but at the moment we're just not there as far as technology goes. All right. That was fun. It was a half hour. Let's do some news. Hi, Stamby. Well, there's all sorts of aquifers that exist below the point where trees could get to that square. Allegedly, that's what Bill Gates is doing: is buying all the aquifers and buying the farmland that exists on top of the aquifers. We need to not direct more solar energy towards an already warming planet if that energy is not in a closed system. Yeah. Again, I am not an expert in the space, the space transmission of electricity, microwave, shit to Earth. I'm not advocating it. I am saying it's a thing that sounds a little too sci-fi at this point in time. I agree that space mirrors would be very inefficient because they either have to sit in stationary orbit or they have to be constantly adjusted in order to produce the energy, and focusing that energy beam down to Earth is extremely difficult. I don't have a disagreement there. Sure. Sure, Hobbit homes, Skoya. I thought those were neat, right? I'm not against the idea of Hobbit homes. Hi, Amby. All right, current AI risks more alarming than apocalyptic future scenarios. Most people, this is from the University of Zurich, most people generally are more concerned about the immediate risks of artificial intelligence than they are about a theoretical future in which AI threatens humanity. A new study by the University of Zurich reveals that respondents draw clear distinctions between abstract scenarios and specific tangible problems, and particularly take the latter very seriously. There's broad consensus that artificial. Ow! Do I bite you? There's broad consensus that artificial intelligence is associated with risks, but there are differences in how those risks are understood and prioritized. One widespread perception emphasizes theoretical long term risks, such as AI potentially threatening the survival of humanity. Another common viewpoint focuses on immediate concerns such as how AI systems amplify social prejudices and contribute to disinformation. Some fear that emphasizing dramatic existential risks may distract attention from the more urgent and actual present problems that AI is already causing today. To examine these views, a team of political scientists at the University of Zurich conducted 3 large scale online experiments involving more than 10,000 participants in the USA and the UK. Some subjects were shown a variety of headlines that portrayed AI as a catastrophic risk. Others read about present threats such as discrimination or misinformation, and others about potential benefits of AI. The objective was to examine whether warnings about a catastrophe far off in the future caused by AI diminish alertness to actual present problems. Morning read. Ugh. Our findings show that respondents are much more worried about present risks posed by AI than about potential future catastrophes. Professor Fabrizio Gilardi from the Department of Political Science at University of Zurich. Even if texts about existential threats amplified fears about scenarios of that kind, there was still much more concern about present problems, including, for example, systematic bias in AI decisions and job losses due to AI. The study, however, also shows that people are capable of distinguishing between theoretical dangers and specific tangible problems and take both seriously. Can I help you? Get down. Get down. The study thus fills a significant gap in knowledge. In public discussion, fears are often voiced that focusing on sensational future scenarios, you're stepping on my cord, distract attention from pressing present problems. Pressing present problems. The study is the first ever to deliver systematic data showing that awareness of actual present threats persists even when people are confronted with apocalyptic warnings. Our study shows that the discussion about long term risks is not automatically occurring at the expense of alertness to present problems. The public discourse shouldn't be either or. A concurrent understanding and appreciation of both the immediate and potential future challenges is needed. I. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder. You say. So, y'all may have seen the trend, as the kids say, on social media of using AI to make a action figure, usually of like yourself. Sometimes it's like making an action figure that doesn't exist that you would like to exist, etc. Artists push back against AI dolls with their own creation. Yeah, absolutely, Minute. Artists and creatives out. Do I bite you? Is that what we're doing? He's literally chewing on the side of my hand. See that? That's him chewing on the side of my hand. I mean, they're love bites, right? Like, he's not, like, biting me. Pay attention to me. What up, Beef? What up, Joint Specialist? I mean, the thumb knuckle babies, when they're teething, they love this thumb knuckle, right? Hold them, and they're like, nom, nom, nom. Artists and creatives are pushing back against a recent trend using artificial intelligence to generate starter pack images of people as toys, which they say may be in danger of risking their livelihoods. I mean, this. Okay, so I actually have been aware of the community that does action figure modification, right? They will take GI Joe figures and take them apart and repaint them and all sorts of interesting stuff. It is so goddamn niche in it that like most people were not even aware it exists, right? What up, Old Lobster? Right? Most people were not aware that this kind of community existed. Um, I don't know what to tell you. So, as far as risking your livelihood, um, probably not, because there's a ocean of difference between, excuse me, using AI to make a picture of like a fake AI picture um of yourself as an action figure, and having an actual like action figure created that you physically can hold in your hand. Kit bashing action figures is pretty cool. It's super cool, right? Like, had, had I known this was a thing back when I was a kid, like, I know there's a little rubber band inside of G.I. Joe figures, right? So that when you twist the waist, it snaps back to the front. There's a little hook, and then there's a little black rubber band inside there. Like, I've taken apart G.I. Joe figures for my own entertainment. I didn't know it could be a career. Since the start of April, thousands of people have uploaded their photos to generate images of themselves as dolls, despite warnings of damaging the environment, giving away personal information, and devaluing creativity. Okay. The warnings of damaging the environment are one, tend to be inaccurate and overblown, but two, also tend to be related to fossil fuel production as opposed to renewable production, which is something that we should be pushing for anyways. And again, for the 15,000th time, nobody's asking these questions when it comes to things like your Netflix database or data center or your Fortnite data center or what have you. It's a very specific thing. AI, bad. Okay. Second, giving away personal information. That's accurate. You are, every time you engage with one of these things, like oh, click here and you can do that. And that goes all the fucking way back to which Disney princess are you? You know what you were doing? You were giving away your personal information. You were giving away your data. Do you have a Gmail account? Right. Like, are you on the internet? What up, Ponder Monkey? AI action figure phenom has become a way to promote stereotypes of perceived enemies. I'm sure, like everything else, you know what I mean? Data for decades, exactly. Exactly. Like, It's only bad when AI does it, which is the thing. And devaluing creativity. Nothing, you can't devalue creativity. Can't prevent people from being creative. I don't know, joint specialist. That'd be a good question to ask. Don't blame AI for things people do. AI is a tool, but it is a faceless, easy to punch at, comes with a predefined group of people who will support your statements no matter how inaccurate they might be. None of that shit matters, right? Nick Lavallee, who has made custom action figures for 6 years, told BBC he was concerned his work may be at risk after AI images saturated social media. Okay. He makes custom action figures, physical objects. AI images are not the same. The people who want this are going to buy this from people like Nick. Right? Having this in my house on the wall is a completely different experience from having an AI generated action figure image on my Facebook. Right? These are two completely different animals. People are sick of them. It's an artistic aesthetic. AI generated art diminishes that. How exactly? Nick has made figures of and for comedians, film directors, and artists such as Weezer and Tyler Childers, which sell for as much as $250. Right? Do you have $250 to drop on an action figure? Probably not. This is not telling. I in no way, with that statement, am saying that Nick should lower his prices as an artist. That is not an argument that one should make. Right? If anything, people pay artists too little as it is. His success has led to a clothing brand and will soon be followed by a physical shop in his hometown of Manchester, New Hampshire. But he's concerned action figure commissions could soon dry up, as well as the public perception of his work from thousands of AI images mimicking his passion. The feeling has been shared by other creatives with the rise of the hashtag starter pack no AI movement, which has been used thousands of times since first appearing on Instagram in early April before spreading to Twitter soon after. But show it. And okay. So this is an example of one that an artist made, like a fully human artist made. Um and this is different than the AI created action figures. Um in many different ways. One of the ways in which it's different is it doesn't look like an actual action figure. It is a, piece of human handmade art, let's say. I mean, it's digital, but the digital artists are now, the digital artists used to be it's not real art people, right? Like they used to be subject to those pains. But now the digital artists are in the it is real art community, and the AI artists are in the it's not real art space, has been known to happen. Is a bird a food item? If you work at it. He's right to protect his creative property, but not to scapegoat the tool. It's like blaming auto-tune for a bad cover. It is, again, it is not, it has no impact on his work. It has no impact on his work because he makes physical objects and the AI is making digital content for your social media. They're two completely different things. Bread, apples, broccoli, burb. And just bread. Just a couple of pieces of bread. And a couple of shoes. For some reason. Anyways. After Patore's post, I'm not sure, it's French. For others quickly join the counter trend because all trends create counter trends. All culture creates counterculture. That's just how that works. It's near on instant, and it's everything. Any cultural phenomenon immediately creates its opposite. Just how that works. Others quickly joined the countertrend with artist Maria Picasso Picure saying she chose to take part for fun but also as a statement. While AI pieces all look more or less the same, I was amazed at the variety of the human works. Interesting that they put air quotes around human. What up, James? You kids, get off my lawn. Plus, self-portraits added an extra layer of, well, humanity. Murillo, like many other artists, sees the dual risk of AI images threatening intellectual property rights by being fed on stolen art and the possibility of reducing her finding new clients. Illustrator Dave Le Dessineau, working in Bordeaux, France, said some of his industry had already lost contracts to AI design work. He contributed his starter pack because, like many artists who use their real hands, he was tired of the deluge of AI generated doll images. Dev's illustration featured only a pencil and a sheet of white paper. Tools, he said, are all you need to start being an artist. People usually forget about it because of the technology surrounding us, but we really don't need more than basic stuff to create something and be original. Agreed. Grudgingly, like, I agree with this statement, but not his intent behind it. Counterculture is a lie spread by the singularity. Counterculture is a lie spread by big culture to sell more culture. Eli Dibitanto, an artist living in Barletta, in Italy, agreed, describing the process of digitally illustrating his own starter pack as carefree and fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mine isn't. Art isn't meant to be perfect or look flawless. Art, yes. Product, different, right? And that's ultimately what this is about, dropping the number of $250, is because a certain C word has forced artists into a, well, not even like that. It always has been this way. It's just most people don't understand their history. But artists are forced, in the current state of things at the least, to create product in order to allow them the materials, supplies, etc., to create art. You have to create product in order to create art. The concerns that artists have regarding AI and any other threats that have come over the years around the creation of art, their concerns are related to product, not art. Literally nothing can stop you from creating art. The only thing that AI can do is impact your ability to make product. There is a difference. An illustrator and student, Evie Joyce, said creating her own artwork meant being able to consider what to reflect of her personality during a process lasting several hours rather than seconds. Because this aspect of it, when you are creating art, is a personal relationship between the artist and the work. It has nothing to do with any people who might see it in the future or anything else, because that is out of the artist's control. The act of creating art is a personal relationship between the artist and the work. That's it. I think that's what's so magical about it is you see people put time and effort and their personality, all of their experiences into pieces of art. True. With AI, it can even steal from artists and steal their work and their style. It just loses that touch of personality. One of my favorite things on Facebook, over there on the Facebook, is when I'll see a post of art in which an artist, a totally human artist, takes someone else's IP and uses someone else's style and creates that IP in that style without any fear of irony or whatever else. And don't get me wrong, I fully support that because IP is bullshit and style is not something that you can own. Back in New Hampshire, Nick understands the rebellion from illustrators, but he says he believes there's use for AI. It's like when we watch the videos where someone says AI is the devil, and 3/4 of the way through. Now, I'm not saying AI is bad all the time. You know, it has uses. Look at these uses that I approve of. I don't necessarily want to say AI is bad when I know that it could be a useful tool. I think all of us have experimented with it. And Hank Van S, which is a name you can have in 2025, a global expert in using AI in investigative research, has proven how useful it can be. But it would be safe to say he does not believe it lies in starter packs. It's like watching a supercomputer calculate how many hobnobs fit in a Sport Direct mug while solving climate change sits on the to-do list. Well, that's because, and I hate to break this to you, Hank, but people are weird. What up, Ghost? I think Globus has his coffee today kind of snarky. I'm always snarky. It just varies by degree. The reason that people do what they do with AI is because it's accessible. They like it. It provides them a small little piece of joy in this experience. And the reason why climate change sits on the to-do list is because them that can actually do stuff about climate change don't want to. That's it. That's it. Fucking listening over at Redolent Thoughts earlier today, listening to Red watch a video from a certain Sean Hannity who was going off about the climate cult, etc., right? Sean Hannity in that space is acting as an avatar for the anti-climate change people. And what motivates the anti-climate change people? You know, you say it. Technically impressive, sure. But it's the technological equivalent of using the Large Hadron Collider to heat up your pot noodle. I like Hank. Hank is creative with his words, and I have a bunch of respect. While everyone's busy generating these digital equivalents of small talk, they're missing the actual revolutionary stuff AI can do. Just wasteful to put all that energy into creating digital fluff when we can use it for solving real world problems. What up, Larry? So yes, but again, this is not what people do, right? People, you know, people make tiny little tchotchkes, right? Like I was given this as a Christmas present. I haven't pulled his little tab to start his battery, and apparently, like you can, he's like a Tamagotchi, right? This is what people do. People like making little tchotchkes. You know, people make cricket balls to play cricket. It's what people do. He's still in stasis. Tamagotchi? Tamagotchi? I don't fucking know. I never had one of those. The last thing I need is the anxiety of trying to keep a little digital pet alive. All right. What else we got? He said angrily. I love you, Ghost. Sam's Club. Remember remember when speaking of Fox, remember when people were crowing about how, oh look, the AI use in retail has failed, and it's an example of how AI bad and it doesn't work and yada yada yada. Well, guess the fuck what? Sam's Club phasing out checkouts, betting big on AI shopping. The retail giant plans to phase out traditional checkouts across its 600 stores. Maybe just slow your fucking roll a little bit, right? Actually appreciate reality as it exists. Sam's Club, the Walmart-owned membership warehouse, is rolling out a major change to its grocery payment system and embracing artificial intelligence. The retail giant plans to phase out traditional checkouts across its 600 stores and create a friction-free shopping experience, which will include customers scanning goods on the go with an app and then having an AI, come on, dude, proofread your shit. Having an AI scanner verify the goods as customers leave. The technology would eliminate the need for receipt checks at the door. It would also lower your ability to not scan that thing and like add an extra product to your cart and so on and so forth. Right? This is not just for the convenience of the customers. This is to help eliminate shoplifting. Why would shoplifting be a concern right now? I wonder. Got hit with an AI thingy the other day at the supermarket. They were using AI on the self-check to find theft. I didn't steal anything, but it flagged me. Jesus Christ. I was impressed. There's at Wegmans, the AI camera computer vision system at Wegmans. You know how normally you put your fucking bananas on the scale, you type 4011 because that's the universal code for bananas. And then it weighs your bananas and it charges you that much for that much bananas. At Wegmans, I put the shit up there and it said, "You got bananas." And I just had to confirm that I had bananas. Yeah, joint specialist. RFID is I am surprised we haven't seen more out of RFID in this regard, right? Like RFID is a thing as it comes to just general theft prevention, right? Because you put the UPC sticker on there with the RFID chip in it, and it sets off the thing. Um, it really is, Ben. Bananas. Who are you telling, Ponder Monkey? you want to well, actually, like, I don't know. Maybe in the area I live, I don't look that weird. Um The system, known as Scan and Go, was initially launched in April 2016 and allows members to use their Sam Club mobile app to scan their products. Here's another aspect of it, right? Get you in the app, right? This is data on your buying habits. Not that they can't. It's easier data on your buying habits, right? Like they can make associations between your credit card and your, ID and your buying habits, but this just makes it that much easier. Plus, there's always the potential that you're just going to put, and probably for this process to work, you're going to have to put your payment information into the app. And beyond all the data stuff, what McDonald's learned decades ago was that if you give customers the ability um to make payments without cash, they buy more, right? There's some percentage, I don't know if it's like 10 or 20% more, but when you're not actually seeing the cash come out of your hand, it is easier for you to spend more money because the money isn't real, but we understand the money isn't real, right? Money is fake at the government level. It's very real at the cash register level. The self checkout is so freaking slow. I only want self checkout, right? Like I go to our local I don't know that we have a Sam's Club around here. I think we might have a Costco. But mostly we have what's called BJ's, right? Which is just another big box store, and it's called BJ's, and it has a little robot that walks around doing inventory, which I appreciate. Um, but yeah, I'm self checkout. I don't care how much I have in the cart because I can just beep 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 beep. I stack it into the cart. With the intent of how I'm going to scan it. It's a whole process. I got this, and I will be faster than your people if you just leave me the fuck alone. Scan as you shop, yeah. You're not wrong. It's called BJ's. I didn't name it. The latest announcement adds the AI check known as Just Go to the process, and we'll see the option of traditional checkouts being eliminated. The new checkout tech was announced at the Consumer Electronics Show in 24. The cashier in my 20s, I could check out with a normal cash register in quarter the time of the slow, stupid self checkout. And yet you can't, though, Ben. The thing with at BJ's with the gun is I don't have to wait for it to process. I can just bip every UPC symbol and it will catch up. This is one of the fastest, most scalable transformations happening in retail today, Nicholas said. Chris Nicholas, Sam's Club president and CEO. We're investing with intention in our fleet, our associates, and the member experience to become the world's best club retailer. The company said its newly opened store in Grapevine, Texas already has the Just Go system in place, and that store will be setting the standard for the club in the future. The new store has designed to make shopping faster. The new store has designed to make shopping faster, smoother, and more enjoyable. Somebody got paid to do this. The store is also designed with AI in mind to better work, to create a better work environment for workers with upgrades like vertical tire carousel, automated forklifts, and a pizza robot in the cafe. That's that's a better work environment. Pizza robot in the cafe. Oh my god. Maybe they are faster at BJ's. The ones at local markets are snail speed, like 20 seconds per item. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, like even in my local Tops is um the major grocery store in the area. They are way faster than that. LA markets treat you like criminals. There you go. I don't mind a slow BJ. It's yeah, I know what I did. I know what I set up. I could have not mentioned it. Costco, the company's main rival, is taking the opposite approach and sticking with traditional checkout lanes only. And so we have an experiment being run, right? This is a direct one-to-one comparison. You have Sam's Club and you have Costco, right? Sam's Club is attempting to fully automate the shopping experience, where Costco is using traditional checkout lanes. My understanding is they also pay their employees a decent wage. Um, so we'll get to see. We'll get to see who does better. Around here, Walmart is the only major grocery store self checkout that doesn't demand I put the item down before scanning the item. Yet none of ours do that. The only ones that require the things required to put down is produce, things that require a weigh. So go me, I guess. Excuse me. Famed AI researcher launches controversial startup to replace all human workers everywhere. Not all heroes wear capes. Every now and then, a Silicon Valley startup launches with such an absurdly described mission that it's difficult to discern if the startup is for real or just satire. Such is the case with Mechanize, a startup whose founder and the nonprofit AI research organization he founded, called Epoch, is being skewered on X after he announced it. Complaints encompass both the startup's mission and the implication that it sullies the reputation of its well respected research institute. A director at the research institute even posted on X, "Yay, just what I wanted for my birthday, a comms crisis." Mechanized was launched on Thursday via post on X by its founder, famed AI researcher Temay Besaroglu. The startup's goal, Besaroglu wrote, is the full automation of all work and the full automation of the economy. Does that mean Mechanize is working to replace every human worker with an AI agent bot? Essentially, yes. The startup wants to provide the data, evaluations, and digital environments to make worker automation of any job possible. Besaroglu even calculated mechanizes total addressable market by aggregating all the wages humans are currently paid. The market potential here is absurdly large. Workers in the US are paid around $18 trillion per year in aggregate. For the entire world, the number is over 3 times greater, around $60 trillion per year. Besaroglu did, however, clarify to TechCrunch that our immediate focus is indeed on white-collar work rather than manual labor jobs that would require robotics. The response to the startup was often brutal, as ex-user Anthony Aguirre replied, "Huge respect for the founder's work at Epic, but sad to see this. The automation of most human labor is indeed a giant prize for companies," in italics, which is why many of the biggest companies on earth are already pursuing it. I think it will be a huge loss for most humans. Only a loss for most humans because we aren't preparing it's only a loss for humans because we don't have a system in place in order to value people for their existence, only for their productivity. And by value them, I mean a number value, not an actual value. But the controversial part isn't just this startup's mission. Besaroglu's AI Research Institute, Epoch, analyzes the economic impact of AI and produces benchmarks for AI performance. It was believed to be an impartial way to check performance claims of the SATA frontier model makers' state of the art. I think. SATA's state of the art, right? Yeah, it's not this. It's not the connector for, I think they meant state of the art. The state of the art frontier model makers and others. This isn't the first time Epoch has waded into controversy. In December, Epoch revealed that OpenAI supported the creation of one of its AI benchmarks, which the ChatGPT maker then used to unveil its new O3 model. Social media users felt Epoch should have been more upfront about the relationship. When Besaroglu announced Mechanize, ex-user Oliver Hebreka, whoever the fuck these people are on X, like they're actually like relevant, alas, this seems like approximate confirmation that Epoch Research was directly feeding into the frontier capability work, though I had hoped that it wouldn't literally come from you. Still, Besaroglu argues that to the naysayers that having agents do all the work will actually enrich humans, not impoverish them, through explosive economic growth. It only matters only it took me a second, Joint Specialist. I had to say it in my head, and then it was like, oh. It only has to do with compensation. It only has to do with resource distribution, right? Completely automating labor could generate vast abundance, much higher standards of living, and new goods and services that we can't even imagine today. It would also lower costs because you don't have to pay the wages of people. You only have to pay for the materials and the production costs and probably profit. However, completely automating labor could generate vast abundance, much higher standards of living, and new goods and services that we can't even imagine today. Might be true of whoever owns the agents. That is, if employers pay for them instead of developing them in-house. On the other hand, this optimistic outlook overlooks a basic fact. Humans don't have jobs. They won't have income to purchase all the things the AI agents are producing. Unless we do something else, right? That is the next part of that sentence. You have to do the whole thing, right? There's no divine existence of capitalism as a mode of production and consumption. Like it's not a natural state of anything. It's a form of exchange where I exchange resources for someone else's resources. That's it. And it not just capitalists, minute people, right? There's the idiom, I don't know, but it's that people can more easily imagine the end of the world than they can the end of capitalism. What up, Brad? Um, you know, like the idea that people might not work and still receive resources flies directly in face of the Protestant work ethic and other capitalist propaganda that exists within the space. There's no requirement. Something has to do the work. That I'll give you. But that thing does not have to be a person. What up, Doc? The thesis that only a select few would have money to spend fails when you consider that such a scenario would be a total economic collapse. And then there's that. The global financial crisis happened when people didn't have enough money to spend. COVID tanked the global economy over the same. Even capitalists will act to preserve their rule in some fashion, which will lead to something like a UBI. Long term, of course, if these changes actually happen, capitalism can't last. Right. At the very least, it can't exist in its current form. It could completely eradicate itself. It could end up with some sort of techno feudalism. It could end up with a brave new world. It could end up with just a better world to live in. That depends on us, doesn't it? Oh, no wife in the club. Give me $20. Give me $20. Still, Besser Roglu says that human wages in such an AI automated world should actually increase because such workers are more valuable in complementary roles that AI cannot perform. This sounds like some horseshit, right? This sounds like horseshit because of exactly the problem that he's describing, right? The only way that human wages would increase would be if there was a volume of work commensurate with making the available labor pool more valuable, right? What up, Iggy? You have You know, if you have more workers than you have work, then the price of labor goes down. Because if you won't take $10 an hour, Iggy will take $10 an hour. And if Iggy won't take $10 an hour, Matt will take $10 an hour. And if Matt won't take $10 an hour, and on we go. Right? It drives wages down when you have that kind of expanded labor pool. And against all reason, right? Apparently there is a labor shortage, and yet wages have not risen to meet that labor shortage, which means it's artificially being suppressed. Right? It must be what's going on. But remember, the goal is for the agents to do all the work. When asked about that, he explained even in scenarios where wages might decrease, economic well being isn't solely determined by wages. People typically receive income from other sources, such as rents, dividends, and government welfare. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is different, you know. So perhaps we'll all make our living from stocks or real estate. Does everyone get 1/8 billionth of the entire world land real estate market? Do we all get a slice or a share? You know, I wonder what. No reason, no reason for me to do this, but I'm doing it nonetheless. If everyone on Earth was given an equal share of land, how much let's say footage would each person receive? And I understand that not all land is created equal. I just want to know how much land is available per person. And we're doing it live because I can. Total land area is 57.5 square miles. Current estimates on population, assuming that it's not too far off from 8.1 billion. Land area per person is 0.01. I love how it wants to do metric. It actually, because I used feet, it's like doing metric and then doing conversions. 0.01839 kilometers square per person. Kilometer is 3,280 feet, more or less. So each individual would receive approximately 198,000 square feet. That's great. That's 4.5 acres per person. That's fucking phenomenal. This calculation includes all land, including deserts, mountains, glaciers, tundra, and other areas that are largely uninhabitable or unsuitable for agriculture. Again, not all land is created equal. But I'm actually surprised it was that high. I thought it was going to be like maybe half an acre tops. You get 10% of a mule. Ponder monkey. Go back to the top. It's using the surface area. Uh-huh. Not the dry land. It's using the total land surface area, not the surface area of the Earth, the total land surface area. So it is using dry land. It's using deserts, mountains, glaciers, tundra, and other areas that are largely uninhabitable, but it is using it. What up, Nick? I mean, like, if we got into the ocean cities, then that's a whole other thing, right? So good. We're all owed 4 acres of land. All right. That's going to be it. I will be back this evening at 5 p.m. Eastern. Remember, we got a special structure for tonight's episode. We're starting at 5 Eastern. We're gonna do an hour of AI related content until we get to 6, around 6, at which point we're gonna watch Connections. And then after Connections, we're going to watch that video on The Culture. The Culture being a culture in Ian M. Banks's Culture series. So sounds good, but please bring this can-do attitude you got going on today. Don't I always have this attitude? Have I failed you? Have I failed you, Ghost? Have I let you down? Have I disappointed you? Why do we crucify ourselves every day? I crucify myself. Nothing I do is good enough for you. Crucify myself. My heart is sick of being. Say my heart is sick of being in. I did. I actually got something in the neighborhood of 8 hours of sleep last night. So maybe that's got something to do with it. But I'm glad you enjoyed. It's the best show. Greatest. In the meantime, drink your water. Eat some food. Take your meds if you forgot. What up, Princess Kimberly? And always, always, always remember that Shaggy loves you. So do I. Magneto was right. Be great.